Okay, there we go. We're back. So, I'm absolutely glowing. Look at this absolute halo right now. And there's these chapters and periods of my life. I shouldn't even say they're chapters. They're sections within a chapter, you know? Like the start and the end. Sometimes they're the interlude. And it causes me, I'm actually going to take these off. Actually, no, that's my microphone, and it might be a little loud. It causes deep introspection, okay? In the best way possible. And it feels like I'm finding myself again. You know, each chapter, what I feel like happens is I find myself, I am myself, the most authentic version of myself, the truest version of myself for what my desires are, what I want out of life in this current, period of my life. And then that starts to entropy. That version of me atrophies as a result of starting to carry and kind of latch onto and associate with these small decisions over time that pull me away from the most authentic version of myself. And then as that fades, and again, I'm kind of just like hashing this out as I chat, it kind of opens the door to this new version of myself, a little pupper right here. And then all of that leads me to this like snap of the next part of me, like the next version of me. And being out here in Bali, living with myself for the last 2 weeks, like I feel like that was a big part of, I felt it prior to leaving because I'd been in Toronto now for 18 months, went through a breakup, got a new girlfriend now, the business took like ups and downs. Like so much has happened over these last 18 months. We pivoted the business model, we changed the fucking brand name from Above Men to, like so much has happened during my chapter in Toronto. It's crazy to observe. And now the Bali kind of send off, like I left my place in Toronto. I literally am like moving to Vancouver once I'm back. Like there's so much going on right now that is symbolizing and signaling a next chapter, a next version of me to emerge. Cam fucking 7.0 at this point. And I will start to listen to these people that will just kind of like float into my life, just out of fucking nowhere, bro. And then it's just like, oh, these people resonate with me more, this version of me more than they did before. Some of them like have been in my life for many years. Rick Rubin, I've known about him for a number of years, but I haven't actually like studied him or listened to him with clear intent. And all of a sudden I'm just like gravitating towards his podcast, gravitating towards what he's saying, gravitating towards this like macro idea of leaning into your intuition and removing the mind heavy decision making, which I've been very much a part of. And although I've totally been someone who has leaned into a higher purpose and doing mushrooms and getting information from there, I still have largely been an overthinker, and this concept of like retard maxing, bro, sign me up, and so I feel that so deeply. And being out here and being in Bali and doing everything that I'm doing, living on my own here and these beautiful places, the nicest spots that I've been able to afford on my own accord, like all of these things are coming up. And when they come up in the sequence that they do, it is always a signal for me because I've watched myself go through this a number of times now. It's a signal to me that a new version of myself is emerging. A new chapter is emerging. And I don't fully understand it, but one thing that is continuing to come up for me is authenticity, living my authentic life, helping others figure out how to live, first of all, design and live authentically. What does authentic living mean? It means being able to tune in, to tap in and listen to what the natural desires, interests, focuses, thoughts that are emerging within you, deep within you. And even as I said, thoughts that felt wrong, because a thought is in the head, where the other things, the desires, they're coming up from within, like down here, deep within your soul, your heart. And it is following that and living a life around that, and then designing these chapters of your life and these macro cycles and these micro cycles that are in alignment with that. And one piece that was coming up for me, and it started to like distort my once belief or perspective that I've held, and the lens is starting to fragment a little bit, to crack. I've had this desire to be this big shot entrepreneur. And although I still believe I will be extremely well known in this world, and I will be labeled to some as a big shot entrepreneur, the way in which I am going about it and the way in which I am approaching being this big shot entrepreneur has been somewhat helpful, because I'm here where I'm here, like I've done something right, but there's still been a level of friction that is being felt, and that has me thinking. And this is where like the lens is starting to crack a little bit, starting to see beyond this belief that I've potentially been holding on to, is that the way that is most authentic to me in this chapter right now is to slow down, is to tap in and listen more intently with my intuition. Be more at one with my authentic self, and watch for ways on how I can serve almost blindly with what is coming up inside. Not thinking too much, removing thought, and allowing the information to flow, not from here, but from here. And when that comes up for me, I'm like, I'm not a work 80 hours a week entrepreneur. I'm not the guy that's going to be in the office every day. I'm not the guy that is going to fucking, live in New York or LA or any of these places that are the hustle and bustle and you got to go, make a name for yourself. I'm the guy that's going to create ripples in the world from a fucking casa down in Bali, or in Costa Rica, or a cabin deep in the mountains of BC. I'm going to spend a large portion of my time in there, and I'm going to reemerge with what's needed to bring into the world. That's what I'm feeling right now. Not thinking. That's what I'm feeling. And now, as I recognize that, and I've had to go through realistically the last, 3 years or so, potentially even, about 3 years to figure that out, because I did that exact thing, and that was my most productive version of myself. And being back here, I've felt a sense of that. I'm like, I need to return. I need to return in a lot of ways. And so I'm making this video largely because I'm feeling a certain way, and I want to transfer that feeling, capture that feeling for you to feel, and for that to encourage some thinking on your own, or some feeling on your own, some reflection. And B, for myself to be able to speak further of this idea for myself of like, dude, layers are being pulled back and revealing a new version of yourself. And actually brings up another interesting piece if you listen to my language. Pulling back the layers, removing what is currently there. It is a equation of subtraction versus addition. That is how it is for the rest of your life. You have everything inside of you. That is the crazy part that I've recognized about humans, is it is all inside of you. It is just a matter of what is blocking you from seeing that version of you, from tapping into that version of you, from believing that you are that version of you. It is a game of subtraction and removal, not addition. And so part of my removal right now, and one of the things that I'm talking about and feeling about, is removing this belief that I'm going to do it through hustle, through go out and get it, versus sit, meditate, reflect. And that sounds so fucking lame and pussy. But it is some of the hardest work. That is the crazy part. It is some of the hardest work to continue to sit there and allow these downloads to transmit through you, through stillness. Another book that's been circulating me for a long time, literally almost 2 years I've known about this book. Why is it right now that I actually took action on going and fucking downloading this book? It's called Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. And it's about this guy that releases into nature's plan in a way. Listening deeper into what nature has intended and being opportunistic about it. And this is something that I actually haven't studied this to know if this is a thing or not. But I know there's the deterministic lens of life where it's like everything is decided for you and every decision you made is already like pre-programmed, yada yada. I don't believe in that, and I'm not going to believe in that because that's a fucking boring ass life. What I am going to believe in is opportunistic. The world will give you opportunities to live in accordance to nature, to flow with it. It is up to you as the individual with sovereignty and free will to pick these opportunities. But that does not mean you have earned the right. And that does not mean if you have nothing that is destined for you. The world will always give you opportunities to flow with it and to give you the most abundant state possible for you, to live most authentically with whatever that is for you. Not everyone can be fucking kings, okay? But you can be the best in your domain. You can be the best individual for the role that you're here to play. Epictetus, know your role and play it well. Holy fuck. It's been a hot second since shits like this has just flowed out of me like this, you know? The last time that I remember that like this was after I came out of my Misogi, 5 days in the mountains, fasted alone with no technology but my e-reader where I was reading a fucking book called Finding God Through Sex. How are you? And I wrote 44 pages of notes over those 4 days or whatever, 5 days. And I walked out of there and I recorded content like I was just fucking beaming. Ironically, I'm beaming. So, there's something. And another thing Rick Rubin is talking about is this principle of sensitivity, is that when you understand that you have something and you're being aware that you're kind of like in flow state on the macro, because you can be in a micro flow state, which is amazing, but you can also be in a macro flow state. When you understand that, being aware of how sensitive that is, and understanding and becoming really good at recognizing the variables that kick you out of flow state, that boot you out of flow state. There's so many, and I shouldn't even be using the word flow state here, but, and so for me, I'm just like, whoa, this is a very sensitive state that I'm in. How do I protect this? It's not going on my phone beyond what I need to go on for productive, daimon forward activities. It is watching what I eat and being mindful of what I eat. Although last night I fucking absolutely smashed 5 cookies. and then hit a little nap completely naked in my backyard with the pool, sun shining on me. It was fucking incredible, right? And now we're here. We hit a workout, hit some chest, and now we're absolutely flowing. I still have another 5,000 steps that I was hoping to hit. Might as well let rip here with the sunset. And now I'm just rambling. So, pure flow. I'm going to be talking a lot more about authenticity and living authentically. And I'm a big believer, not a big believer. I'm feeling extremely called right now, and it feels very much in alignment for me to lean into the concept of authenticity as a vehicle for self-actualization, which that is the ultimate goal, and that is the ultimate aim. It is going to be the way that I see things until further notice, and I really believe that is just fucking everything. But the vehicle in which you do that and how you do that is something that I want to continue to help you with and continue to guide myself on. And I think one of those unlocks that I have figured out through my time here in Bali and leaving Toronto is to understand who you are at your most authentic self and do everything in your power to continue to build an environment, people, surroundings, and information, a routine and protocol that enables you to live authentically. And so I'm going to talk a lot more about that because I'm feeling very called to it. And I'm also feeling the power of that right now in this moment, in this chapter of being in Bali. And it's going to be very interesting to go into my Orca and see how I can continue to foster that with the 9 other guys. And continue to design a life that I fucking love, man. And the last piece is I'm so bullish right now, so bullish that you should, as quickly as possible, live a life in accordance to what you love doing and do something you love every single day. And that does not mean that you have to just fucking, surrender all your belongings and whatever. But if you can't afford to do what you love every day and you can't afford to explore your own path and you have to work for someone else, amazing. Learn from that, learn the skills, learn what you don't want, and work towards what you do want. But everyone has some level of sovereignty to do some level of thing that they do. And if you don't, or thing that they love to do on a daily basis, do it. And it is literally the first fucking chapter of David Yetta's book, Way of the Superior Man. It will never end. The work will never end. And so you better design a life where the work is the thing you love, or commit to doing something you love on every single day, even while you're working, even while you're not where you're at. Because dude, this life isn't fucking long, man. This life is not long. Understand that, bro. Like, yes, we might be the first generation that can live indefinitely, but if that's the case, that still doesn't relieve you of the ability to be present right now and experience life at its highest form. Because this moment doesn't last either, in a way, right? You're never going to cross the same river twice because the river's not going to be the same, you're not going to be the same. So embrace that shit. But also, why the fuck would you go, if you don't have to, why would you go through life doing shit you don't want to do? And you're going to say, well, you have to work hard to get what you want. Yeah. So you're working hard to do something because you want it. Like, I saw an amazing poster or a quote from Muhammad Ali. Is like, I hated training every single day, but I did it because I knew I could be the champion for the rest of my life. He didn't fucking hate training. He loved training. He loved that he hated training because he knew how fucking good it felt when he won. And he knew how good it felt when he was going to be fucking champion. He loved training, even though that he didn't love training. He loved it. That's the fucking difference, man. I'm not saying go run off into the sunshine and never return and be a fucking hippie that lives off the land. Hey, if that's your thing, do it. What I'm saying is design a fucking life where you're doing things that you love more and more and more, and the outcomes that are caused by the things you do are the things that fire you up. And surround yourself with people that you love to be around. And consume information that you love consuming. And engage in hobbies that you love doing. Stop living a life that you don't have to live. It doesn't make sense. And I'm going to continue to devote myself to speaking that. And I told this to my girlfriend. It's like, she's doing something that she does not want to do. And before I came into her life, she was doing it because she knew the payoff, the money, would be worth it. And so for that, I applaud her. And I applaud her 10 times over because she's continued to show up way more than she has to show up. And so I applaud her for that. But now she knows that she doesn't need to do it for the money because not only she has me, but then she also has these new vehicles, these new monetary vehicles that she can do something she loves and still make the same amount of money. She didn't know that before. And so she was making the right decision. Now that she knows that, both me and her agree, she shouldn't be knocking. I will not let her knock because why the fuck would she go another year doing something that she doesn't love doing when there is a better way to do it for the outcome that she was looking for? And better yet, there's more outcomes that she can get from doing something different along with the same outcome she was getting from knocking doors. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because it's some of the most important fucking lessons that I've gotten from this life so far. So here's a sunset. Here's me in Bali living my best life, bro. Like, come on, man. Serious, bro. Like, why don't you want to feel this way? I'm not saying come to Bali, although I'd highly recommend it. Bali's been gangster, okay? You can go to pretty much any gym with your shirt off. The moment you walk in, shoes off, bunch of incredible looking people. Why wouldn't you want a life like this, bro? And the only reason you don't is because you don't believe you can do it, and so you're too afraid to fucking take action. You're like, if I go and try, I might fail. And you can't stomach the possibility of failing. It's not failure if you unless you die, bro. On the macro, it's not failure until you die and you don't do what you said you're gonna do. On the micro, if you've tried this thing and then you quit, you can see it as failure, you can see it as a lesson. You know, I failed at 20, different businesses. I forget how many I've started. I didn't see any of them as a failure because looking back, they all taught me something that allowed me to start above men, that allowed me to figure out how to pivot to actualize, that allowed me to build the business that we're building today, that allowed me to travel to Bali, that allowed me to get invited to host a retreat at Bali, to be free to do what the fuck I want, to make incredible money, to attract an amazing woman into my life, because I wasn't afraid, right? And now I'm here. So, why not, bro? Why don't you want this for yourself? What is stopping you from believing that you can have this? And again, I'm not talking about coming to Bali. If that's your thing, great. I'm talking about an authentic life. That your life is intentionally designed, and the majority of your waking days is doing things that you love to do, or is contributing to something that you love to do. Why not, bro? So, I'm gonna keep stepping. Come on, bro. Come on.